Shalom. Kal halalimla abanawa Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. And shalom to the prophets of that body. Okay, a hearty shalom to them. And shalom to the 144,000 elect men and the greater multitude of men, women, and children, believers. Okay, the 1/3. Okay, shalom to them, and may peace and blessings be upon your households. All right. Okay, so the Lord is working, man. The Lord is really getting it in terms of these prophecies coming to pass. As Elder Manata Zakbar of GMS SC, South Carolina, said, regardless if they're using AI, whether they're using whether the certain deleting of people is actually real or not, the fact remains they've been taken off the podium, so to speak, and they will no longer be in front of the camera, as far as we know anyway. Okay, they'll no longer be these specific individuals or characters they have been playing. Example, Charlie Kirk. Now, he could be, listen, whether he's gone or not, it's still prophecy playing out. It's all Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, the Lord controls everything on the right-hand side and the left-hand side, pursuant to Isaiah 45, verse 7. And also the Lord controls man's goings, okay, and man's mindsets, okay? The Lord controls everything and is ultimately leading to the collapse of this society, all right? Now I'm going to play a, because over the weekend we had a Unite the Kingdom rally where you had, for what I could tell, because London is a very brown place, and I'm thinking, where do all these crackers come from? And all right, I mean, there were no scuffles as far as I know. All right, but I didn't see any brown people within the crowd. I mean, I saw maybe one or two, but I didn't see a whole bunch of other people because, ultimately, Jake knows this is not our fight. Okay, this is an Edomite thing. This is a so-called white man thing. They're just trying to hold on to their power. All right, and they're pissed off because the so-called white man's losing his power, losing his 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 position as hunk of the earth, savior of the earth. Because the so-called white man loves to believe, even if it's a lie and they know it's a lie, right? They love to believe it. If Esau said that, okay, all the Native Americans were blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and over a period of time the sun made them darker or some shit, and then Esau say, oh, America is really ours. Esau will run with that shit, even if it's bullshit, just to make themselves feel better, to appease themselves. If you tell them that they were actually, the so-called white man was actually really King James, they'll believe that shit. But when we know the kings of the earth are all Israelites, so-called black men, men of color. All right, all right. And I'm not leaving the Northern Kingdom, brothers, but I'm referring to Europe because Europe was ruled by the Southern Kingdom, which is a so-called black man. All right, not you Hamites, Africans. I'm talking about a so-called black man in America. All right, in West Africa today. Obviously, the ones in England at that time would, the Lord deleted them with the so-called Black Plague. But nevertheless, all right, Esau runs with that shit. Now, this fight is Esau was trying to hold on to their power. They're trying to hold on to everything that they have by, it's like somebody hanging over the cliff and they're just trying to hold on with a thread, not a rope, not a strong rope, okay? A thread, and they're just trying to hold on to it, and they're trying to climb up that thread, and the thread has oil on it, and they're just trying to climb while it's slipping off. They're just trying to get hold, they're trying to get leverage again. All right, but they're not going to get that leverage back again. Now, this Charlie Kirk guy, look, they're deifying this guy, all right, like a god or some kind of messiah on their end. They're putting pictures up of him. The so-called white man in the UK is wearing t-shirts saying, I am Charlie Kirk, I am Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk was basically just a racist, an Edomite, a cracker, with a huge gum line, right? He's a fucking caricature, all right? And he's talking about, some of these people might not say that it's not about color or this, that, and the third, but they're talking, of course because listen, if you listen to their statements, They're going to add their truth, and they're going to add a little bit of sugar to it, so or a little bit of honey to it, so people don't feel, oh, it's so racist or so right wing. They might say, oh, it's not about color, this and the third, but he's talking about, bringing the old ways back. When he's talking about the old ways, we know what they're referring to. They're talking about lynching, N-words, hangings, having all Edomite towns, which, we don't want to live with you crackers anyway. But I'm just saying, they want their old Edomite towns where they could have their old ways back, going back 100 years, 150 years. That's what they want. That's what they want. And people, so-called white man, loves the ideas of that. They love the idea of, movies. If you've seen classic movies, because I like watching older movies. You've seen movies like By the Light of the Silvery Moon with Doris Day. There's Doris Day type movies, and fucking, you should. The reason why I watch that shit, because number one, is entertaining. Number two, they show some kind of normalcy. None of this weirdo blue head septum ring bullshit and tattoo shit. And also at the same time, you see Esau in his glory, and then man, I'm gonna put hell on you crackers. You know what I mean? You see the lovely plush mansions and Esau lording it, walking around the house, with his eyeglass on and his pipe in his mouth, curling his mustache while his wife is running around, telling the housekeeper what to do and making food and keeping the house clean, and he's just a master of the place. This is why I watch it, and that's what Esau wants back. Esau wants that 50s type glory. Esau wants that, that glory of the time when it was just like niggas were there. You could hear their music. They like the music. They like the entertainment. They like to see Nat King Cole on camera, on stage, playing with that lovely music, but they don't want to see Nat King Cole live next door or across the street. You want to be heard but not seen. That's what Esau liked it as. They just want to see you as a bunch of minstrels, just a bunch of, just entertainment. They don't want to see you, but they want their all Edomite towns. This is what they want. And that same temperament, that same mindset is with the white man in England and other parts of the world. Hence the reason why they're deifying this guy so much. All right. And what I also want to get at is what Elon Musk is being used for. Elon Musk is making his statements and, his statements in America, other parts of the world. And now he's, backing up England as well, and along with Tommy Robinson, and, you're going to listen to, it's a couple of minutes, several minutes, I believe, but Elon Musk is going to get down. He's going to get down. All right. And he's going to tell you, all right, we either fight back or die. We either fight back or die. And the most, this is going to really amplify the common Edomite, with 3 teeth in their mouth that can't string a sentence together, that have never worked, never educated themselves. They've never had that drive because they already got everything so easily, because they like stealing or they like getting that job where they don't have to do much. Now all those opportunities are going away. The benefits are going away. The universal credit is not taking care of their needs and requirements. So what do they have to do? They're going to blame somebody else. And most of these crackers are in the crowd don't know history. They don't understand how people got here. They don't understand how the Commonwealth was built through theft, enslavement, and murder of the indigenous people of other lands and parts of the world, which a bunch of them are Israelites. All right. Okay. And stealing from other nations, and then, making those first world nations into third worlds. And now England and all that is a first world. Now they're calling those lands, shithole countries when they were once first world countries. For example, India had 27% of the world's economy at one point, and was a very rich place before the so-called white man got there. Then the so-called white man got there after they graped it for 300 years. India's economy was 3%. 3%. All right. And then they wonder why, then they say, oh, these foreigners coming over here. Do they not realize the white man was traveling also to the Commonwealth countries, and the indigenous people of the Commonwealth countries are coming to the head office, which is the UK. So the UK was like the head office at that time. And other parts of the world were like satellite offices, if you want to look at it in modern terms. It was a business, right? But these crackers are too retarded, too dumb. They don't understand anything, okay? And they're just going to jump on the bandwagon of, the people of color are the problem. The people of color are the problem. They're using all this Muslim shit, but Esau don't give a fuck if you're Muslim or whatever religion you are. If you're a brown person or a so-called black person, they're going to come for you when that time comes. and they're just basically chucking fuel onto the fire, all right, with this Charlie Kirk thing, all right, and it's going to get out of hand very soon, all right. It's going to lead to Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30 verse 7, and Jacob's trouble is basically uh, everybody's trouble, but Jacob is a primary target because Jake, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, as well as those of that lineage from the 12 tribes, if you want to call them Israelite foreigners, are the problem because they have rulership next of this planet Earth under the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. All right. Let me just read a scripture and then, then I'm going to play the video. Revelation 12 verse 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right. Now there are bounds that Esau cannot pass. There's a limit. There's a finishing line. All right. That finishing line cannot be extended. It cannot be you can't add another 100 meters to it. You can't add another mile to it. You can't add another 100 years to that extension. There is no extension. All right. You're not going to get a 30-day or a 30-year extension, Esau. This is it. All right. So they're going to do whatever the fuck they're going to do to get down to make sure that you N-words are wiped out so they can get their rulership back. But these crackers don't understand. The only reason they got a rulership is simple. Is because of Jake. Wherever Jake goes, Jake makes everything great. These crackers, if listen, man, if Jake didn't exist, Esau would not exist. The only reason these crackers have a rulership is because of Jake's stupidity and simplicity of fucking up. Hence the reason why these crackers have been given the whooping stick to punish us. All right, but our sentence is almost up, and we're at the tail end of the fall of this faggot ass kingdom. All right, let's go. By the way, copyright fair use. I'm not making no money out of this in any shape or form. Let's go.
Let that sink in for a minute. And celebrating the left and freedom after just for talking, as you were. Put people in prison just for talking, as you were. Just for speaking their mind. The essence of democracy.
And people are retired. Look at his T-shirt. What's that referring to? You got to be careful. Look at the T-shirts. You got to look at the symbolism of the hands, how they're doing it, what they're doing, what's on the T-shirt. You got to be. Listen, man. Esau is a devil, man. All right. You should notice the T-shirt. You got the all-seeing eye straight away. Okay. There you go. Let's go.
It should be a government for the people, by the people, and in fact, this is a government against the people. And not for the people.
Let me just add one thing as well. A lot of the world actually believe still to this day that it was Arabs that bombed the 9/11 towers. As September the 11th passed, nobody ever talked about the Twin Towers, did they? Nobody said, "Oh, let's do a moment's silence" and all that shit. Nobody did it. It is September the 11th came and went this year, right? Nobody gave a fuck, right? Nobody's honoring those 3,000 plus people that were deleted that day. Okay. People actually believe that these politicians, these presidents, these prime ministers are actually the good guys. They actually believe what they see on TV. This TV is like a god to a lot of retarded people, especially these lower level Edomites, man. All right. And this dope fiend cracker here, Elon Musk, yeah, he's just there just to amplify, chuck fuel on the fire, man. And it's Tommy, what's his name, Tommy Robinson. People say that he's a small hatter as well. He's just an agent. That's all it is. He's just an agent. All right. As well, you can see it, man. Scumbags, they're all in it together, man. But then again, this has to happen for this world to fall.
This is why everyone is gathered here today. Is something's got to be done. This is unacceptable. The government needs.
Look at that. That's London. All these Edomites come there with the St. George's flag, the Union Jack flag. I mean, they did have some performers there, and there was so-called black women. They were standing with a couple of white guys, and they were singing some songs about Britain and America or some shit like that. That's the only brown people I saw. I mean, there were no bottles being chucked at these ladies, so I guess I don't know, but it's definitely going to amplify in that direction. This is meant to be an anti-immigration rally, you know. And I remember one thing: all these crackers from England and America are going to other parts of the world. You're going to get got. The same people that you hate upon, you hate the Indians, the Filipinos, the Arabs, the Africans, the Israelites, etc., etc., etc. But you're going to their lands as a safety net, though. You crackers wear Trump and MAGA hats in Mexico. Man, I hope you crackers get deleted wherever you go, man. Because you're going to get yours, man. You're not going to go to other parts of the world and, throw your weight around here, then go over there and lord it up. And like the indigenous population ain't going to get you. The Lord is going to put a heavy spirit on these other nations, as well as Jakes out there in other parts of the world, to get you Edomites, man. They're going to come for you, you pigskins, bro.
To be responsible to the people of Britain. It needs to protect Britain. It needs to protect the weak, those who cannot protect themselves, especially the children. And when I read about some of the horrific stories and how the government did nothing and tried to hide it, they try to hide these horrific crimes. And then you see how much violence there's on the left, with our friend Charlie Cook getting murdered in cold blood this week, and people on the left celebrating it openly. The left is the party of murder.
What about those children? What about those tunnels that were found in New York around the people that wear those black hats, those small hats? They wear those black hats as 1948ers. Those people that live in the land of Izzy, okay, that ends with rail. Izzy, that ends with rail. 1948ers. What about those tunnels that were found? The tunnel diggers in New York, where in those tunnels there was high chairs, baby high chairs with blood and things like that on it. Those high chairs that you put little toddlers in, little babies in when they're eating food and you're trying to feed them. They found those in those tunnels, and those damn small hatters were fighting the police. Now, what happened about that? How come that's not being talked about? The atrocities against children. All these crackers are filthy, man. Some nerve. And they're trying to make you Jakes the scapegoats, a face of terror, man. And then they choose, or they drum up AI, or they choose the most grimiest Jake, pay him off, saying put a wig on or whatever with dreadlocks, and don't shower for a couple of days, look grimy as fuck, you know what I mean? Put on a FUBU tracksuit or some shit, and then they'll fucking use his image to delete some cracker bitch, some Edomite, and then they'll say, oh, look at that, the big black man hurting the blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman. These devils are, they're gonna, and then they got some nerve calling our people devils, man, which is true in certain cases, but they're just trying to make you the face of terror, Jake. And Esau don't differentiate, man. Just because you think he got brown skin and straight hair, they're not gonna come for you. Oh, they're not gonna come for me. They're only coming for the black people. Me no black. They're not coming for me. They're gonna come for you too, man. They're gonna come for you too. And these crackers are gonna fight against each other. These Edomites.
And celebrating murder. I mean, let that sink in for a minute.
Do you want They're showing out Charlie. They're showing Charlie's picture, and on the other side, when they flip it over, is a picture of Charlie and his wife and children or whatever, And his wife is a blonde-haired woman, so-called white woman, that stereotypical Richie Cunningham, apple pie, American, so-called white family, what they call the nuclear family and shit, Let's get rid of this damn commercial, man.
That's who we're dealing with here. That is who we're dealing with.
Elon, to so many of the British public who are scared to exercise their free speech, they're worried about being imprisoned, they're worried about being attacked, even to share their speech on your platform of X. What message would you give to them?
The message is really, my message is to the reasonable center.
And you can tell Elon's high as well, man, because he's erratic and he keeps pausing and shit, and he's trying to look at the camera. He's high on something. I don't know what this motherfucker's on. He's on that good shit,
The common sense. So my appeal is to British common sense, which is to look carefully around you and say, if this continues, what world will you?
And you have to use the term British common sense. When people say British common sense, they're talking about, yeah, the white man's common sense. All right, you got to read the comments as well on these channels when they say usual suspects and British. No, I don't see no British people. I only see one British person there. And when they say one British person, it's referring to the white guy. When the real Brits are actually Israelites, okay, and they're so-called black men and brown men. All right, but nevertheless, let's keep going. Let's just keep what this. Let's hear what this scumbag's got to say.
You be living in. This is a message to the reasonable center, the people who ordinarily wouldn't get involved in politics, who just want to live their lives. They don't want they're quiet. They just go about their business. My message is to them: if this continues, that violence is going to come to you. You will have no choice.
If this continues, that violence is going to come to you. You have no choice. All right. If this continues, that violence is going to come to you. Now, what is he referring to? If more immigrants keep coming in, you know, if more so-called white girls or white people get attacked, you know, Esau's going to more drum up more AI or maybe stage more shit because they got like fucking, what do you call them? Crisis actors, you know, or the Lord could make real shit pop off, you know, and this is going to amplify, chuck fuel on the fire, and this race war will kick off. It will kick off. All right, it's just a matter of time, and time is short. Okay, because you can see new things happening daily, man. New things. All right.
You're in a fundamental situation here where whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die. You. Whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die. You either fight back or you die. And that's the truth.
Today, Elon, I think the British public.
This reminds me of statements of politicians, racist politicians in the UK back in the 70s when they wanted to get rid of or the people of color at that time. Reminds me of Enoch Powell, man, that cracker. You know, but nevertheless, let's just keep going.
Public are telling the world that they're ready to fight back.
Ready to fight.
Good.
Look at that. You got the Edomites in England that are waving the American flag, the St. George's flag, the British flag. They're saying that they're in solidarity with the so-called white man in America.
Yes.
Come on, Great Britain.
Elon Musk is high as a motherfucker, man. You can tell. Look at it. He's on some shit.
We've inspired the nation. Elon, you've spoken a lot about woke culture, the woke mind virus, and how it damages innovation and freedom of thought. We know that DEI often sees people getting jobs when they definitely don't deserve them. Do you think this culture is holding back progress in the West? And what do you think needs to happen to resolve?
Now, there's so many jobs available now in America. All right? All the so-called Hispanics and some of the blacks of the Southern Kingdom, the West Indians, Haitians that are doing certain jobs that the so-called white man doesn't like to do, be it construction, bricklaying, stuff that's hands-on, cleaning bathrooms, picking fruit. All those jobs are available. But these farms that are owned by Edomites, so-called white people, are saying that their businesses are collapsing because a lot of the Native American and Hispanics and other tribes of the Israelite tribes, so-called black and brown people, have been taken back to their countries of origin. And they're saying their businesses are collapsing. Now all these jobs are open. Okay, there's plenty people are needed. Now, where are the so-called white people that are unemployed that want jobs? Aren't these jobs open now? Okay, and a lot of the jobs in the UK, a lot of this crowd here are not even qualified for. It's only the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, especially Israelite foreigners from different parts of the world, like Nigeria, Ghana, even Northern India, that come over here that are actually educated. All right, they've got that Jake brain. All right, through trial and tribulation, they have gone through and got the education and can acquire these jobs because they have that education. A lot of these crackers with 3 teeth in their mouth can't even read a sentence correctly. It's actually people that are foreign with accents that speak the correct grammar in English. These honkies can't, you know. That's why a lot of the dentists and doctors in the UK are who? East Indians. You know, yes, some of them are Elon, but some of them are Jake too. You know, I know the difference because I grew up around a lot of these damn heathens, and I know who's Israelite foreigners and who's not. I can just tell. Sometimes you can tell by looking at them. You know, which is not just by looks alone. And plus, a lot of these Edomites don't have that work ethic, man. I'll give you an example. My dad did construction for 50 years. All right, his crew were basically a bunch of Israelite foreigners, right? And the supervisor that ran the crew of these construction companies would give extra work to Jake. Why? Because he knew his own kind, the so-called white man, did not want to work on a Saturday or a Sunday. All right? Did not want to work on a Saturday or Sunday. Why? Because they know their own kind would rather get drunk on a Friday night and not come into work on a Saturday. So they approached who? The men of color. Okay? And they would approach the Israelite foreigners like my father and his cousins, and they would always approach West Indian man, the brothers with the original look. And funny enough, the West Indian man and my dad on the construction site got on like as we say, they were safe as houses. They got along. There was no issue or qualms, or there was banter amongst them. You know what I mean? Because they're Jake. Jake gets along with Jake for the most part. You know what I mean? You understand? And even listen, man. Even listen. People at the top even know that their own kind are lazy, man.
Deserve it, to reverse it. Progress stops when they definitely don't deserve them. Do you think this culture is holding back progress in the West? And what do you think needs to happen to reverse it?
Yeah, I'm appealing to sort of common sense and fairness. I want to emphasize just common sense and fairness, which is that we should make our decisions based on merit, on how, if somebody is talented and hardworking, then that should be the only means of it.
Talent and hard work only belongs to Jake. You understand? Esau's not talented or hardworking. All right, they are not. All right, and we work along with these motherfuckers, these honkies every day. They are not talented or hardworking. All right.
Advancement. There should not be discrimination on the basis of sex or religion or any race or anything else. And what a lot of the woke stuff is, it's actually super racist. It's super sexist, and it's often it's anti-religion, but only anti-Christian. Like, why only anti-Christian? That's unfair. So this is why, again, my message is to the reasonable middle. Do you not want a world where there is fairness and common sense, and you advance as a function of how hard you work and your talent and your integrity? That should be all that matters. And the woke mind virus that I call it is against all of that.
Listen, it's called connect.
Damn commercials. Here we go again.
Wrong. It's against all of that. All that matters. And the woke mind virus that I call it is against all of that. It's wrong.
Elon, we hear so much about censorship being pushed by governments and global corporations and organisations. A lot of people don't understand why we're allowing mass, uncontrolled immigration into all Western nations. Do you believe that there are powerful forces outside of elected officials, someone controlling governments, that are trying to control the flow of information? And how do we resist that pressure?
I think when you look at the behavior of organizations or people, you have to say, what is the incentive for these organizations? And frankly, there's a massive incentive on the left to import voters. So if they can't convince their nation to vote for them, they're going to import people from other nations to vote for them. This is a massive factor. And frankly, it's a strategy that will succeed if it is not stopped. Thus far, it is succeeding. And you see strong movements to allow people who are not from Britain to vote in Britain, to allow people who are not from France or elsewhere to vote in those countries, and thus depriving the citizens of their democratic power. It's really a voter importation thing. And if they're allowed to succeed, if this is allowed to continue, they will succeed in importing voters, swaying the elections, and taking your vote away from you. That is 100% what is happening.
Do you know what's great? The BBC and the mass media cannot control this, can they? I love it.
I mean, the BBC is complicit in the destruction of Britain.
And we pay for it, Elon. We pay for it.
Yes.
Yeah, the BBC is complicit in the destruction of England.
We're forced to pay for it. Do you know they send us to jail if we don't pay for it?
You're forced to pay for your own destruction. It's insane. It's unfair. It is wrong.
The BBC is British Broadcasting, the British Broadcasting Corporation.
Elon, a lot of ordinary people that are here today, they feel ignored, they feel censored, or they're labelled just for speaking up about their legitimate fears and concerns in their communities. Do you believe technology, like X or even AI, can finally give power back to those people? Or do you think it will make censorship worse or even automate it?
I mean, that's a complicated question. It really depends on what government is in charge. The government can obviously use whatever powers are available to suppress the people. And so I really think there's got to be a change of government in Britain. And you can't, we don't have another 4 years or whatever the next election.
Change of government in Britain. We don't have another 4 years. What do they want to change it to? New World Order. All right, let's get a couple more scriptures. And I might play all of this, but there's another 7-8 minutes left. But we've got the key part, right? Which he said, we either fight or get deleted, isn't it? That's what he said. All right. Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. Okay. Now we know our prophets and elders and teachers of Great Millstone have been teaching us, teaching Jakes around the world, even letting the heathen know what time it is. Okay. You know, that, the tables are turning, trading places, you know, in real time it's happening. All right. And we can see it. All right. And we know time is short, pursuant to Revelation 12, verse 12. All right. And we know it's going to lead to Jeremiah 30, verse 7, with Jacob's trouble. All right. And it's going to get to the point where, listen, man, the world is not going to go back to the 70s and 80s. You can digress. You can have so-called optimism. You can dress like the 70s and 80s and shit. You can put a chuck on your FUBU tracksuit. You know what I mean? You can do all that. And nothing. You know, like, listen, man. I'm in my late 40s, so I don't dress like these young guns. These youngsters these days. You get me? I don't wear jeans with holes in it, and I don't wear fucking jeans. You can wear fitted jeans, but that extra medium shit, I don't wear none of that bullshit, man. I'll keep it how I dressed back then, 30 years ago. That's how I dress now. Obviously, not too baggy, of course, because that shit was crazy back then. But nevertheless, you know, and it's just gonna get to the point. You know, I'm all over the place, Salakia, man. You know, it's gonna get to the point where it's this complete destruction coming, man. All right, complete destruction. All right, and these youngsters, man, they're gonna get caught in the middle. You know, because everyone's on that soft shit, and it's gonna get real. Even before I knew I was an Israelite, even before I knew anything in this world, I always believed in the Most High, and I always knew that I never liked the so-called white man. When I was a child, I never liked the so-called white man. I never liked being around him. I never liked, even seeing the sight of him, I didn't like it. You know, I didn't feel comfortable around them. I wasn't afraid of them. I just didn't like them. I knew they were evil just by looking at these motherfuckers, man. You know. All right, and complete destruction is coming, man. You know. And because we're in a real soft world, man. A lot of Jake out here are going to get deleted, man. A very soft world. All right. Very, very, very soft world. You see how they dress? A man can't even wear, can't even gird himself up properly anymore. Walk around in fucking flip-flops and sliders and Crocs outside of the house, man. You know? Who wears that shit outside of the house? Pajamas outside of the house. Man, this whole world is fucking weird. 2 Ezra 15:14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Verse 15. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men. We're seeing sedition. All right? People coming together, talking about, oh, this is what the powers that be are doing to us. This is what we want. This is the kind of action we're going to take. And if they don't listen to us, we're going to get down and get busy in the streets. And then you've got Elon Musk adding fuel to the fire, saying that the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, is complicit in the destruction of the UK, right? And he's saying either fight or die. He said all that initially, but then at the end he said it's not about race, this, that, and the third. He had to add that there. He had to add that in, all right? But the powers that be and the scumbag crackers that are out there listening, they can read in between the lines. And ultimately, a lot of these people that are following Tommy Robinson or Elon Musk, listen, they can't string a sentence together. They don't know about geopolitics. They don't know what's going on. They don't know about the Illuminati. They might know a few things here and there, but they don't know what they don't have the real picture. The way they see it is, we want to make England or America white, and we want to get these colored folk out. They don't know how the colored folk got there, how this country was built, how the so-called colored folk have contributed towards this society and made this country great. All right? Even though it's falling, you know what I mean, right? Okay? Because this, it's mainly Jake that holds this country up. It's mainly Jake that pays most of the taxes. These crackers don't do damn thing, man. All right? Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Verse 2 Ezra 15:14. For the sword, verse 15, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of the action shall stand in their power. They don't give a fuck about the so-called politicians. You see that they said Sadiq Khan is, what did they say? He's a sleeper agent or some shit. You saw the signs in the background. All right. They don't like Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer, the so-called prime minister, was taken out of a pub by some Edomite. He didn't want Keir Starmer to be in his pub drinking a pint because they hate Keir Starmer with such passion. All right, people don't give a shit about the kings. They were chucking eggs at Prince Charles when he became king. They don't give a fuck about these people no more. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And martial law is going to come there as well. All right, because once destruction kicks off, martial law is going to come in there, where they're going to start putting little borders across cities and towns where you've got to stay within your particular location. It could be, the UK is very small as it is. It could be 2-mile radius. It could be 3-mile radius. They're going to cordon everything off. Okay, where they know that, okay, there's at least a food store there. There's at least your basic doctor's surgery there or whatever. So they know everybody in that particular area. Okay, they have to stay within that location. If they're trying to go to another town, you're going to work or whatever, you got to produce your ID. Or it could get to the point where you got to take the CHIP to get across. But we'll see when that time comes. All right. So we are seeing shit getting built up. Where is that video, man? All right. Okay. So we are seeing, look, we are seeing, I remember footage like this. If you watch old footage from the 70s and early 80s of skinhead groups and Enoch Powell and other types of racist groups around America and England, this is very, it's like a throwback to that era. You know what I mean? And it's getting to that point. And like as mentioned, London is a very brown city, right? And you don't see many brown people out there because most brown people know, listen, we can read in between the lines. This is not our fight, but we know that's going to come to us and we've got to defend ourselves at some point. Now, Jake out there in the truth ain't going to look for this. But number one, we ain't going to take no shit either, man. We ain't going to bow down. We're not going to, listen, it's either fight or flight, right? You're not going to freeze. You want to get out of the situation quick. But you're going to obviously move quickly. But if it's, trouble is coming to you or yourself, you pray to Yahweh Bashim Yashai, the Lord could provide a way or avenue for you to escape. But if you've got to fight, the Lord will give you the amplification you need in power to get out of the situation and get out of the situation victoriously and unscathed, if it's the Lord's will. Okay, this is where faith comes in. All right, so we got nothing to worry about, man. The hopeful elect have nada to worry about because we got the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right? And these scumbags are relying on their weaponry, but they have no idea that the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai is going to, the Lord is going to give that power out, man. The Lord is going to do something, man, because every single day we see the angels more and more and more. And I know some of you brothers see the angels around you. You know, they could be cloaked. You know, like the movie Predator. You see the Predator cloaked up, walking around you. It's like an image moving, right? It's not demonic, because when it's demonic, you know when it's demonic, you can feel it. But when it's the righteous angel, like when like the scriptures say, like it's paraphrasing it, like where when an angel is going by, your hairs on your arms stand up, and you feel good about it. You feel good, and you're praying in the name. It's angels, man. You know.
It's too long. Something's got to be done. There's got to be a dissolution of Parliament and a new vote held. It's and really what matters is rallying the people of Britain, really getting the people of Britain to get the message out there, talk to your friends and family, and build a massive power base among the people. And like I said, you really got to appeal to the sort of average, the normal people that just want to go about their business.
Yeah, so everyday cracker, tell your families and friends, organize yourselves. He's basically saying in between the lines. All right.
That they're sort of in a village somewhere, they're working, they just want to mind their own business. But you've got to point out to them that if we don't take action, they won't be able to mind their own business because other people are going to come and maraud them. There's genuine risk of rape and murder, and the destruction of the country, and dissolution of the entire way of life. And so, yes, in the normal course of
rape of the country, this dissolution of the entire way of the so-called British or American life. Okay, now people want to hold on to their so-called British or American ways. Okay, he's saying you got to fight.
Of business. If things were
now, what you're going to see over the next several days or weeks, you're going to see more and more Edomite women or Edomites get deleted, whether it's real or actors or AI. This is what they're going to show, and this is going to keep amplifying and amplifying and amplifying. You know, they're going to show, you know, the most lily whitest Edomite wench or person or child being deleted by the most grimiest person of color. So, like in America, they'll probably use a so-called black man. In the UK, they'll probably use a Hamite or maybe a Pakistani or an Arab, you know, or maybe a Jake also. You know, they could, you know, take a pick. We'll see how the Lord does it, but it's definitely going to lead to that. So this race war can kick off.
If you weren't under a massive attack, then people should go about their business and just, you know, live their lives. But unfortunately, if the fight comes to you, you don't have a choice. You have to fight. So you have to rally all of the people of Britain to fight for the future.
Let me ask
and
the
if
people
this
of
doesn't
Britain,
happen, there won't be a future.
Are you ready to fight for your future, Britain?
There you go. I'm going to leave it there now. I'll put the link in the vid if you want to watch the rest of it. But we've got the gist of the idea, okay? You either fight back or you die. All right, so, you know, Jacob's trouble is imminent, and we'll see how it plays out, okay? Let's see if it kicks off hardcore before this year is up, or will this kick off maybe spring next year? I do not know, but I know time is short. We're approaching 2026, and the Lord is definitely going to get down because, you know, we're not here that long. We're at the tail end of this rulership, man. We're going home soon. All right, we just got that last leg to get through. We're almost at the finishing line. So keep the faith, Yasharallah. Okay, stay prayed up, as our elders and apostles say. And I urge you to subscribe to the Men of Great Millstone, our Apostles on Down, Apostle Street Ministry, and all the other beautiful Great Millstone channels. You know, Saints of Jersey, the brothers are affiliates, I believe. Yeah, affiliates. You know, man, just watch and be serious about this, man. But this ain't no joke. This ain't no entertainment. All right? This is not a joke. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash, Mawathabad Babal, Kwam Yashra, Shalom.